And then I'll just also start sharing my screen. I'll just have the notes document on the screen, but that helps for having the overall screen recording synced up later on. So, Benny, I was going to sort of hand it over to you for any quick updates just on like either the ongoing development, but also, I think it would be good to mention some of the features and tasks you've been working on specifications for. So if there are any partners or users on the call who are interested in those, but also if there are any developers who are interested in taking on some of that work. So I'll pass it over to you, Benny.
Yeah, sure. In terms of the recent development work that we have been working on, we're trying to wrap up the interest recalculation and accrual accounting. What I mean by interest recalculation is if there is either an advance payment or a delayed payment from a customer on a loan, then the interest gets recalculated according to what is outstanding as of that loan, as of that date. Until now, Mifos has been more or less following a schedule, repayment schedule that is fixed at the time of creating the loan. So this is the feature that the development team is working on. There are a few enhancements as well as to other things that user interface related enhancements that is working, as well as on the accrual accounting, there are a few enhancements we are working on. Other than that, yeah, I have been writing a few specifications on, one is in terms of helping self-help groups or meeting the needs of self-help groups. One of the features is in terms of having a guarantor and blocking the funds available in deposit accounts on the deposit accounts. And as the loan gets repaid, the guarantor's funds is getting released. So this is there on wiki page. If you search on the wiki for guarantors or blocked funds in deposit accounts, you will get the link to it. If anyone is interested, I can send it out to the developer list too. The second feature that I've written the specs of is for multi-currency transactions, where the transaction is done in a currency which is not the same as the currency in which the account is opened, either a deposit or a repayment, etc. And the corresponding accounting that needs to be done. So these are two features, feature specifications that I've written recently. There are a few more features around self-financing self-help groups, where the loans, etc., is the funds for the loans is expected to come from the savings or deposit accounts of the group members themselves. So this is a feature that I'm working on, not yet published it. So this will be published sometime early next week. So yeah, these are the things that is happening at my end. Markus or Vishwas could jump in and give an update in terms of other things I may have missed out. I know Markus will be getting into more details of the webhooks that he's working on. Yeah, that's it from me.
Okay, thank you, Benny. Vishwas, did you have anything you wanted to note apart from what Benny was updating on?
Sure, it is. Just having a look at the list. So some of the other features which will be shipping soon will be there's some work done around rescheduling loans. So that's another functionality which will be shipping along with interest recalculation. And yeah, probably that's it. The rest of the issues which we're working on currently, which people are working on, are mostly related to bugs or UI enhancements. So these are the big ticket items which is done.
Okay. And then Markus, did you want to give an update on some of the teller cash management that you have been working on?
So currently I'm verifying that the API for the teller cache management fits the proposed UI provided by Bini. Thanks again. awesome work. And in parallel, I provided a Twilio SMS gateway which will be used by the webhooks, and Avik sent the pull request for the webhooks today. So I think we're in a good shape here too. And later I will demo a bit how this bridge is working and just show a bit code and stuff like that. So at least you all know what's going on there.
Okay, thanks Marcus. And then, for those on the call, like we've also got the initial versions, or the alpha version of our native Android client out there, and we're really looking for feedback and additional use cases and requirements from both partners and implementers. So we have a group of volunteers that's going to be working on more Android-related features coming up. So we're really eager to get some feedback and direct use cases on where our community would like to see the native Android client go next. So if there's any feedback that folks on the call have right now, or any questions you have, please send those to the mailing list. And then one other sort of development-related topic I wanted to note, and was just a reminder that Antonio, our Google Summer of Code intern who led the Pego Soul project, along with his mentor James, they're still looking for other developers who'd like to join them in continuing to extend the Pego Soul, both its backend and its Android application for tracking pay-as-you-go energy and other transaction-related services. So this is an important module as we try and extend Mifos into these pay-as-you-go services, and look forward to getting some additional developers to assist there. So were there any questions from anybody on the call right now about any of the ongoing development, upcoming features that our product team was discussing? Okay, well, if there are no specific questions right now, you know the place to send your feedback, either on the Mifos developer or Mifos user mailing list. And if you're not registered there, make sure you get signed up so you can partake in the conversation. And before we, move on to the demo from Marcus, just a couple other quick topics I wanted to touch on. So, we're busily planning away for our annual conference and summit in Kampala, Uganda this year. It's going to be held from October 14th to October 17th at the McKinnon Suites. So we still have, early bird registration that's open through the middle of the month. And although our scholarship deadline has already passed, like if you are interested in attending and have had, financial difficulties which have prevented you from registering, just be in touch with me and we'll see what we can do, because this summit is a very important event for us, and it's one of the best ways for you to really, grow your participation in the community and meet everyone that's out there. So don't forget that, the early bird registration closes at the middle of this month, and if you've got difficulties being able to attend, just be in touch. We're working on additional scholarships, but we've already brought on Google and ThoughtWorks once again as silver sponsors for this year's event. And if you have any feedback on the agenda, like we're also, planning that out, and are welcome to get any suggestions on sessions or individuals that would like to speak, present, or share their experiences. And then the one other topic I'd note, since this is a developer call, we're thinking of participating in another, intern-type program. It's similar to Summer of Code, but it's focused more on European universities, and it's called Semester of Code. So I think the deadline for being part of that program is tomorrow. So we're going to be discussing, our participation in that and what projects we'd like to work on. So if you have a specific project in mind, or if you're a developer and might be interested in mentoring for such a program, you can chime in right now or shoot one of us a direct email or Skype message. Did people on the call have any questions about the summit or semester of code? Okay, well, if there are no questions, we'll move into the demo portion of our call. So Markus, will it be you or Avik that I need to make presenter?
First it will be me, and I hope Avik will have everything run so we can at least showcase a bit of the webhook stuff in the community app, but focus is on the Twilio bridge, right?
Okay, yeah, well, let me make you the presenter then, Markus, and thank you so much for spearheading this project and getting the work done so quickly and being able to demo it. So, and Avik, I think that'll be fine time-wise because Markus will be sharing his work right now. Okay, and I'll mute myself.
This will take 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, and I'll mute myself, Markus, once you've got the screen and everyone can see your screen. I can see your screen now, Markus. Can others on the call see it?
Okay, so looks like most of them can see it.
Okay. Good. So I'll unmute myself, Markus, and let you take over. So take it away.
So hello. As mentioned shortly before, Avik and I started to implement webhooks, which will allow others to integrate into the platform by offering some HTTP and telling us on which event you want to get noticed. And for a proof of concept, we've decided to create a Twilio bridge. Twilio is an SMS gateway provider, which also has a non-profit kind of license, and luckily they put us on their non-profit bill, and now we have a Twilio account and we can send SMS. And I will just go through, it's pretty simple, the summary, where we're heading, the implementation details, and then we'll show a demo. So I think who we are, everybody knows. So these are the nice guys from Mifos, right? I'm a volunteer, as announced before, and I'm working for Mifos since spring 2014. I live in Germany, and I'm doing development for a bit more than 14 years now. So just a quick overview. The Twilio bridge first was only a POC for the webhooks, so during the course of implementing it, we realized that it also would be a cool fit as a default SMS provider built into Mifos, so the next step will be to have it as a real module. And we will provide two different kinds of SMS generation, so one which I call specific and the another one which is a generic one. So specific means you could attach yourself to given events like a create client or a loan repayment and just use the result which comes back from the Mifos platform and stick it into this API, and then this little piece of code will gather additional information from the Mifos platform, like the mobile number or the loan account number and stuff like that, and just generate an SMS and send it to the client. And the generic version is just you know everything yourself, so you got your mobile number and you know the message you want to send, so you could simply send it directly using this approach. Stop me if I'm too fast, right? So just for the geeks of us, technologies I've used is mainly Cradle to build a standalone application and also a WAR, so you could run it as a self-deploying web service, or you can just build a WAR file and deploy it to a Web 3.0 web server. Mainly everything is based on Spring Boot currently. I use YAML for the application configuration. I introduced Velocity for message templating. The communication to the Mifos X platform is done using retrofit REST, thanks to Michael, because he mentioned it in some nice message during the mailing list. And I use OK HTTP just to ease the SSL part, thanks to Avik for pointing this out. And for the Twilio communication, I use their own Java SDK, which is just an HTTP client wrapper around their REST API. So it's pretty simple in this way. The implementation is completely event-driven, which means the HTTP request will just gather some information and returns immediately, and if everything went good, then an event is fired and some listener is recognizing it and just doing the magic in the background, like communicating to Mifos and all that stuff and sending out the SMS at the end of the day. Just for another kind of geekiness, this is the activity diagram, what happens in this implementation. So first step, somebody called it via HTTP. The first thing is we will verify the API key which is given. If it's not a valid API key, then it will return a 401 unauthorized. So you need to know an API key to use this. So nobody without any knowledge of an API key can use and send your SMSs or send some stupid SMSs. So after the SMS message is processed, we try to figure out if we notice event already. If not, you get a 404, which tells you that currently there's no event for your entity and your action combination. And if everything ranks good, then we just return a 200. So, and before we return the 200, the event is published, and so there's totally decoupled from the processing of the HTTP call. The internal event handling then will pick up this event, will in our loan case call the loan details. If the loan could not be found, it will tell you loan couldn't be found. If the Mifos client details do not contain any mobile number, then no SMS will be sent because to whom we should send it. And if everything works fine, then we send the SMS using Twilio. Any questions? So a short code walkthrough so you can at least see a bit what we're doing. So I explained a bit the profiling stuff, so you could use a special property profile, and if you set it to deployable, then it will just remove the Tomcat from the runtime class path and will create a WAR file so you can simply deploy it into a web server. And if you do not use deployable, then it's just a simple standalone, so you can use Java X and Java-jar and just run it and everything will work out of the box. The controller itself expects you to provide 3 request headers. The first one will be the Mifos API key, which is the API key you need to enter and to be allowed to do anything with this API. Then you will need to provide the entity. In this case, this would be a client or a loan, and the action that happens. So it could be something like created or repayment or dispersal or something. And the little piece of magic happens somewhere in here. So given your entity and your action name, we try to gather if this event is already known by using event get type, and then we just simply publish it. And this is all asynchronous, so once it's published, it will return immediately, and you do not need to wait until everything is sent or gathered from all the external systems. And this piece of code is just the simple implementation for a loan repayment event. So first of all, we take a look at Mifos. This happens here. So we use, as I said before, retrofit REST, and try to get the client and loan information. And if nothing is there, then we do nothing. And if something is there, we just use the velocity template and create a nice message and say, hey, we received your repayment, and just send it using Twilio. So that's not really deep, hard stuff. It's pretty simple and it's pretty straightforward. And it will take about 20 to 30 minutes if you want to create another specific listener for a entity action combination, which is not known right now. So let's move on. There are some already planned enhancements, so this is the first version, and as I said before, it was implemented as a POC, so like a spike, and now we want to make it right. So in this case, the next step will be to introduce a database, just to have the configuration a bit more loosely instead of having it hard-coded in the project, not really in the code. Also, I want to externalize the templates, and I want to switch to event sourcing. So if something went wrong, I want you to be able to resend a failed SMS. So that's why I want to create event sourcing. One thing which still needs discussion is, do we really need multi-tenancy? Who knows? Me currently not, because if we're using our Twilio account for everything, then I think we maybe need multi-tenancy. But if we're maybe expecting others to have their own Twilio accounts, then it would be tenant-based, because the combination typically would be tenant Twilio account. And the last step is using the Mifos X Java SDK. So maybe some of you will ask, what the heck is this? During the process of writing this Twilio bridge, I started a Java SDK in parallel, because I need to wrap a lot in the retrofit REST client, and I want to ease this a bit and make it available to others, so that you in the future could simply create your client using this library instead of doing it by yourself all the time again, over and over again. So that's why I, in parallel, started a small Java SDK for that stuff. So now it's time for the demo. I will show you how you could call this by using simple HTTP calls, and hopefully Avik will be able and willing to show the community app and how this will work together with the webhooks. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. The URL is Twilio SMS. We will send a post. We will send 4 headers, so we let them know that we want JSON back, that we want a client to create event, and this is my special API key that I can use. And as a payload, this is really the result if you make a create client on the Mifos X platform. So you really could pick up this and stick it into here and just send it out. And if this is sent out now, then my nice mobile phone will make ding-a-ling, because I will send. This was not mine. And same as for loan repayment. So in this case, I just picked out a portion of the result, but you could stick in the complete result if you like to. And the information is gathered via, all other information is gathered through the Mifos X platform. And just to show you how simple it could be to send a simple generic SMS, you only would send the mobile number, in this case my mobile number, and some message, and you could just send it out through this mechanism. questions?
Markus, Binny here. What exactly was that Mifos API key that is there in the header? Is that something that is specific for each implementation, or is it for each type of request?
This is specific for a implementation. So once you start the, I could show you where it comes from. Once you start or deploy the application, it will print out your API key, right? So it's generated the first time based on the authentication token we will use for the Mifos communication, and also the account access ID and the Twilio account token. And this information is put together, and there's created a special key, which is only created once, the first time you start it. And then you could use this key just as a authorization key in this.
So there is some kind of a utility class which I have to run with those parameters, and it would generate the key and give it to me?
No, it will just, it runs all the time you create this, you start the application.
Okay, I'll probably play around with it and then come back to you. I may have a question in terms of how do I get it. I still didn't get the exact picture what you just mentioned.
If you deploy the WAR file or you start this application, then this key is printed out, so you know your key. But it's generated based on information. I could show you the information. So it's based on the Mifos authentication token you will use, and it's based on the account ID and the auth token in this case. So these three make up the key, and the application will tell you the key every time it starts.
Okay, and the account ID and the auth token is something that I get from Twilio for my... Okay, got it. Yeah, thanks.
Then Markus, I think Edward had a question in the chat, which was more centered around generic SMS campaigns.
You could have multiple numbers there. So just to answer your question. Twilio allows bulk sending if you specify multiple mobile numbers instead of one. So yes, you could also use it for campaigns.
And then Edward, I think there's also some work from Musoni that is being contributed back to the platform for managing these campaigns internally from within Mifos. But we'll have more details on that in the future too. Were there any other questions or feedback for Markus? And then Markus, did you want to post in the chat like the link again to where this bridge code is at right now?
Yeah, I will send out an email to the list once again, also containing the presentation.
Okay, great. Yeah, so
to demo the thing.
Yeah. So we can create a hook. So I've registered for the Mifos Twilio bridge service, written a processor which will send the API key. Now, just a display name search purposes. Make it as an act. And right now the URL I'm using Markus's app on my localhost. So this will be the URL which his controller will be intercepting and processing into an internal event handling thing. And then the events it currently supports are typically client creation. So these are the groupings, these are the entity names, and these are the action names mapped to those entities. So client creation and loan transaction, loan repayments, and we just submit it. So right now this hook is registered and it's listening for this services. So each time any action occurs, which is a non-read action or non-checkered action, it will asynchronously throw the event, and an event listener will try to fetch all the hooks which are listening for that event and send it to their respective URL, payload URL, with the response message body for the event. So we'll just go ahead and create a client. Okay. This is the mobile number which the third-party app will query back and used to send the actual SMS to the Twilio gateway. Right now I'll just give my number. So somewhere in the server log should be there. Yeah, so this is the request and this is the third-party app which Markus made. And yeah, so as you can see, sending SMS to 99 like my mobile number, which it queried back from the Mifos platform. And the event is processed, and right now it's up to Twilio how it gets delivered. That's about it. Any questions?
Hello, Avik. If you go to the WebHooks definition screen.
Yeah. Right.
So when you try to create a hook.
Yeah.
So what do the hook templates mean? Now, what is the difference between a web and the Mifos Twilio bridge hook template?
Yeah. So yeah, a web is a generic one, as in it doesn't really care about different fields. Different headers which the application is receiving. It will just take the response, like content type of the request will send, JSON or form, and the payload URL, and it will send this the common three headers, that is the Mifos X platform tenant ID, the Mifos X entity ID, and the Mifos X action. So this can be anything.
So, Vishwas.
Yes, Markus.
The Twilio Mifos Bridge template is just a convenience template to allow you to also import the API key, which is specially needed for this.
Okay.
So these fields are defined in the database.
Okay. Thanks, Markus and Avik.
Avik, one question. So in this screen, what we are doing is we are capturing various events and saying that what action needs to be done. The template of the SMS itself will be configured on the other side, on the
third party.
Right. And that would be against an entity versus action. You would have a specific template. Did I understand it right?
Yes. Yeah.
Or a combination of events plus entities plus action. You can have a template against that.
Right. So you can specify. So you decide which template you want to use within the event processing, and you could create templates for every entity or action, or you could have one template for multiple entities and actions.
Okay.
just to clarify this, so the Twilio Mifos bridge is specifically to use for Twilio for the SMS, which we understand. The webhook, is it that if I have another SMS provider, let's say there's one called Twilio, which is a competitor to Twilio, I can use the webhook and create that the same way, using the information from them?
You could use the webhook in this case to let another service which could be everything, but at least need to understand what you send to it, to send notifications to somewhere. So if you want a special implementation of an SMS gateway, you need to implement it yourself and use the webhooks here just to notify your implementation. Or you could find someone who's doing it for you, right?
Okay. All right.
So this web is really a generic version where you just enter a URL and we do a post to this URL. And the logic within this URL needs to know what to do with it.
Right.
And the Twilio bridge is just a special version, a specialized version which utilizes Twilio to send SMS.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Marcus, I'd like to know. Yes. I'd like to know the API. Is there any documentation that I can find of the WebHooks API?
If you take a look at the GitHub I've sent it,
okay,
then you see that there's currently the API documented, which is not really a lot.
Okay.
Right, and but we will also move this to the Mifos API documentation once we have the module over there. So,
okay.
But you can take a look at the README. You can take a look at the README, and you can see what you need to do on the REST API portion of it to send a request there.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. More questions? Okay, it doesn't sound like so. I have one question, especially to the folks from India. Currently, we're facing an issue with our Twilio number because it's on the DND, and I just wonder if somebody knows how we can get off this list.
When you say on DND, when you say your Twilio number, is it a number? Go ahead. Terence, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. Is it an American number? Is it an Indian number that you're trying
No,
to?
It's an American number which gets sent.
Okay. There are subscription rules here from the government, from the TRAI, and there are local providers which I've used the service of for sending bulk SMS for other applications. So they have a subscription-based service. So those who subscribe for the service, they allow them to receive SMS. That's for Indian numbers.
Okay, so maybe this subscription also works for international numbers. Maybe we could take it up and just look if we could do it, because currently that's something we figured out using Avik's mobile, is that they won't get through because they're on the blacklist.
Right.
Marcus, yeah, just to make sure I understand, Now in India, you can register your phone numbers to a do not disturb registry. So if Avik's number is registered for a do not disturb registry, so he will not be able to get the message. But if he goes to his provider and unregisters it, let's say for example, this was the for Vodafone, you can register and deregister here. So then he should be able to receive those messages.
Yeah, but this depends a bit on the provider, right? Because I saw one provider only allows you to subscribe from complete lists.
Yeah, but you can
subscribe from numbers.
Okay, but you can have a fully unblocked thing. So if you register, if you deregister completely, you receive all your all SMSs basically.
Yeah, that's right, but that's not really convenient for the customer, right? So you tell them if you want to receive SMS from our side, you need to allow all SMS. So I think it would be at least a try to figure out if we could subscribe our message, our number.
I think to avoid that, what Sander and everyone has done is send most of the SMS at night after 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's a solution we already laughed about, right? That's another point. So we could send out message between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. and D&D won't work. So that would be the fallback if everything doesn't work. So we can just build a scheduler and collect all messages and send them in a bucket.
Really? I mean, D&D works like that from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m.
Yes.
Oh, Markus, Avik, I think Mohan had a question there in the chat.
So right now, no. Just to answer Mohan's, okay, I repeat it. So Mohan is asking if the system is generic to any third-party gateway provider right now. And no, it's not. But that's something we have on the schedule because Ed already asked for it. And it would be not that hard to just switch out the implementation of the gateway provider in this case, because everything else is pretty generic. It's only the gateway provider which is picked out, and this is pretty simple to replace it. So if there are more third-party gateway providers that are in interest, just let us know and I can figure out if they have a decent API and how this API looks and if this would be a fair deal in this case.
Okay. Well, thank you, Markus and Avik. Those were some really great presentations and demos, and thank you for handling all the good questions we had from the audience. So we've got another 8 minutes left on the call, and we have a pretty full room of attendees right now. So were there any other topics or questions folks wanted to propose, since we've got some of our developers on the call? So if you have any questions or concerns, technical related from your implementations, please do share them now. Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, we'll conclude the meeting. We'll send out notes and the screencast from the meeting, and then Markus will send out his presentation as well. So I want to thank everybody for joining the call today, especially Markus and Avik for presenting, and Vinny as well, and Vishwas for giving their updates. And then just a reminder that tomorrow at the same time, Santosh will be leading a brief training session on setting up Mifos X in the Amazon EC2 cloud using our publicly available AMIs. So if you're interested in joining that session, please register via GoToTraining. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Markus and Avik.